Start. Now, I know this is weird that I'm mic'd because I really wouldn't need to be with this small of a group, but we are live streaming so that we have the recording and can share it later with families that aren't able to be here. So they will not be able to hear a thing I say if I don't have the mic on. It doesn't, you can barely hear someone talking. Sometimes you can hear Pastor Tim because he can be animated without a mic, but otherwise the live stream you can't pick anything up. So thank you so much for coming tonight. The question has been, how many kids are in our grade? We have 16 that are in our roster for this class, and whether they all choose to participate or not is really up to them. That's why we do this so early, because we want people to have time to think about all the stuff about confirmation, consider if they're going to participate, and then make a decision hopefully over the summer so that we can plan and prepare for groups and different things like that. So, and also, confirmation is a time when, if you maybe haven't been connected with a church and you grew up Lutheran, they may decide to, come back and start participating again. So we welcome any invitations to friends. If you would like to invite, you are more than welcome to do that. So we have people that do that a lot, or kids that do that a lot through their confirmation years, and we grow often. And we encourage you to do it early, because the sooner we can integrate them and get them connected, the better, versus, halfway through the year, right? So, okay, let's open in prayer, and then we will get down to business. Dear God, thanks for this gorgeous day, for the sunshine that warms us and is helping the plants to grow, and just a sign of new life as we remember that even though things are busy, that you give us strength and new life every single day. Be with us as we think about, even though we haven't even hit summer, we're thinking about fall. We just know that you can work in our hearts, and with information that we can plan and prepare and really get excited about what's to come, not only for these youth, but for these parents as they plan to walk beside their kids, as they work to think through the promises made in their baptism and then affirm those over the next coming years. So be with them as a family, guide them, and lead them, keep them safe and healthy, and thank you for all these youth and families. In your name we pray. Amen. Yeah, Pastor Tim went and got our name tags for us. That was... Since we're asking you to put them on, it's helpful that... So I'm Kirsten, Pastor Tim, and we are your leaders for confirmation through your years coming up. This is really the best guide, so I'm just going to have you pull out this white sheet, and this is what we're going to briefly talk through. And you are welcome to ask questions at any point, okay? So we have a small enough group that I think if you want to raise your hand or if you want to just shout it out when there's a little lull, that's great too. So some things we get to do at confirmation, and I say that in a way that instead of have to, right? Because it really is a privilege to be able to come to a place like this and gather with friends and learn about God. There are people all over the world that do not have religious freedom that we have. And so we really do call it a privilege to come and gather here in this space and call each other church family, right? It's really a cool thing. So I hope you feel that and are excited about, spending time with your friends here at church, because it is a great place to grow in relationships. And it's just a really cool thing to watch you guys grow over these coming years. So affirming our baptism. So when you were just an itty-bitty baby, most of you, some of you, people get baptized at all ages, right? But typically in the Lutheran Church, we baptize before babies can do anything to make a choice about it, right? They can't... They're eating, sleeping, pooping, burping, crying, all those things, but they can't say, I want to be baptized, So the reason that we do that traditionally with an infant is because we believe in Lutheran theology that it's about what God does in the waters of baptism and what God did on the cross, right? We just celebrated Easter. And it's not about what we do, about making a decision, but we can choose every single day to follow Christ, right? But we baptize infants traditionally because it's what God's doing. And if it were up to me, I'd probably screw it up every single time, right? If it were I make mistakes every single day, and although I work hard to follow God. There are times that I know that I don't do real great at that, right? And so I know that God has given me that gift of love before I could do anything to earn it or deserve it, right? So what does it mean to earn something? If you ever had a sticker chart and you earn a sticker, right? You did something to earn that thing, right? What does it mean to deserve it? Like you're good enough, like you really deserve something, right? Like you've worked hard and you just deserve that. Well, in baptism, we don't do anything to earn it or deserve it, right? It's freely a gift of grace. No matter what age you are, it's a gift that's given without any strings attached, that you are given that gift of baptism in God's love without doing anything to earn it or deserve it. It's pretty cool, right? So we affirm our baptism. That's what confirmation's all about, because when we baptize babies, then when you get bigger, we do some things to learn about it and grow in our faith, and we as adults grow right along with you, the guides. If you choose that you want to help as a guide, I think I can attest to, there are a couple in here that have done this, that you learn and grow just as much as the kids do, which is really, really cool. So I encourage you to find a way to connect as parents too, because it's a learning experience with them. But essentially we're being made more like Jesus so that we can love and serve like Jesus did. Confirmation is saying yes to God through worshiping, loving, growing in faith, serving others. Yes to God who said yes to us in our baptism. And it's not an ending or a graduation, but just a beginning on our kind of adult faith journey, right? So this is your road to being an adult in the church. Believe it or not, when you are confirmed, this is one of the earliest things you get to do as an adult. When you turn 18, there are certain privileges, right? When you turn 16, there are certain privileges. Well, confirmation's even before that. When you get confirmed in the church, you get to vote. Anytime we have an annual meeting or something, a congregational meeting, that you can actually show up and be a part of the vote. So it's pretty cool. You get to be an adult in the church. So confirmation is typically grades 7 through 9. Small groups we do by grade. There will be at least 2 in this grade, maybe 3, depending on how many end up signing up. But then all grades meet together in the sanctuary here for a large group time, so 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then 10th graders don't come every single Wednesday, but they do their final mentoring, write their faith statements. You just maybe heard those in Lent. And then they celebrate their affirmation of baptism in their sophomore year. So, and then a lot of 10th through 12th graders help as junior guides too. We're growing that. As kids get older, they participate more and more. So, questions yet? Nothing? Okay, poke who you're sitting next to and say, I'm glad you're here. Wake them up. It's a long day, right? Or, yeah, do that look. Faith, friends, food, and fun. These are kind of our big components of confirmation. We really want you to be involved, so attend as many weeks as you can. If you're not here, it's hard for us to let you have the experience, right? But we do live stream a lot of stuff. So like if you want to go on our YouTube or Facebook page, I think they show up on Facebook too. Worship does for sure. But YouTube, we have a worship YouTube page, and we also have a general YouTube page. Under the general page, if you click on the live button, you will see all of the past confirmations. So you could go out there and look and see what a Wednesday confirmation large group is like. If you miss a night, that's how you make it up. So Pastor Tim or I are teaching in here, and you're homesick. If you are feeling up to it, you can watch it that night while you're home, or you can watch it at a later time. It's really up to you to do that on your own, because it's a lot for us to keep track of for every single kid. So really, even though we are here as your kind of faith leaders, right? We are not perfect. We don't know it all. Your parents are your biggest faith role model, because you are with them a whole lot more time than you're with us, right? We get like an hour and a half a week. And our hope is that this isn't the only place you are talking about faith, right? You leave this space and you're having conversations in the car. You're asking questions of your parents about this, that, and everything. And faith is kind of woven through that, right? Well, if you're only doing that when you're in this space, then we're missing the mark, because we want you to be thinking about faith, asking questions, talking about it, as much as you can, as much as you think about it, right? So that means that you're doing that when you're away from this space all the time with family, friends, trusted adults, not just here, right? So if you miss a Wednesday, you as a family are kind of the unit that gets to be in charge of your confirmation experience, right? So when you start in the fall, we'll have an orientation. You will get a sheet that you keep track of your own stuff, right? Like everybody's in charge of their own thing. You can figure out however you want to do that as a family. If you would do better as setting that up as a Google sheet, go for it. But you'll get a paper sheet that you can hang inside a cupboard, and you keep track of it through your 3 years. You don't turn that in at the end of every year. It's just for you for 7th, 8th, and 9th. And we're going to talk through what goes on that in a little bit, worship notes, service hours, and stuff. But a typical Wednesday night is 6:15 to 8. We have large group and small group time and games. And so in there, that sort of varies based on, each night's a little bit different, but that's kind of the core of what it is. Sometimes we'll mix in a service event. Sometimes we have a full service night where we're off-site. In the fall, we'll go to Feed My Starving Children. This spring, we're doing the tie blankets for the graduates on our last night. So we tie in things like that all the time. Slice is a pizza dinner that's optional every single Wednesday night from 5:45 to 6:15 right beforehand. If it is helpful or you enjoy meeting with friends here, you can sign up for pizza. And some of you have been doing that through, almost all of you have done pizza at some point, right? So you just sign up each week by 2 p.m. or let us know that you plan to be here every week, and we'll talk through that again in the fall also. Family Matters are when nights, we didn't have any this year for various reasons, largely because we were in transition and I just wasn't sure what this year was going to look like. So when we are getting settled in, and next year we plan to have Family Matters again. 2 Wednesday nights where we bring in an outside speaker parents and kids will come together and be here for a dynamic speaker that will be in this space for you to come and learn something together. And then small group fellowship nights are really up to each group. They're sometimes off-site, sometimes they're here at church, so it just varies and we'll communicate it as we go. So, questions about any of that? But we want to see your beautiful faces every Wednesday, as much as we can. Of course, if you're sick, we don't want you to show up and cough all over everybody, but then stay home. But we do want you here as much as you can. So worship notes, they're right back in that corner over there. You can check them out, and actually, anytime after tonight, you can start doing worship notes and turning them in and keeping track of them. So this is sort of the start of your confirmation experience. So if you have an older sibling that's been doing this, you know exactly what they are and where they are. It is a way for you to think critically about what's happening in worship, because we know that you're getting to an age where you're old enough to ask great questions and to think about what's being said in the sermon or the scripture, to listen to all the different sights and sounds, to maybe draw a picture. Here's the thing I do know. Each and every one of you are different, and each and every one of you learn and comprehend things in a different way. So if for you are a writer and you want to fill out that whole darn worship note, great, go for it. If for you it is more told through stories and pictures and you want to draw on your worship note but then write down one question, we're okay with that too. We mainly just want you here with your family, soaking up the worship experience, hearing the words, participating, growing in your life of faith with the other people here in our congregation. Now, we do think that there is a lot of value in those worship notes, so we're going to push you to do 15 of them a year. But if you came to me and said, I'm going to quit confirmation if I have to fill out 15 of those, I'm not going to say it's an end-all be-all, right? Like, every kid is different. We will work on it with you. But for the most part, most of our confirmation students will fill out 15 a year easily. Now, how many weeks are in a year? 52, right? And then we have 6 weeks of Lent. We've got Holy Week, so there's a whole lot more than 15, right? What if you want to do them all the first year? Go for it. I will tell you that if you are a kid or a family that is filling out 45 worship notes in a year, you're most likely not going to just stop after 7th grade. You will do 45 of them and then continue to be here at worship and maybe fill out another 5 every single year. There's no perfect number to this, right? This is not about checking boxes. It's about growing in a life of faith. So whatever that looks like for you, if you want to fill out, 100 of them, you can. It's really up to you. And I will let you know that we take these very seriously, because each and every one of you that write questions on them, we answer them either handwritten or in our large group on Wednesday nights. So one of the key components of our confirmation is asking tough faith questions. And so you'll see on that green sheet that we ask you even tonight, are there any questions that you have about faith? The reason that we do this is because we strongly believe that having questions does not mean that you are a horrible Christian. It's exactly the opposite. You are thinking critically, you are growing. Like, we are not in the business of making robots. We don't tell you exactly how to believe, or you know what I mean? We will guide you in your faith and have a lot of faith conversations. We're going to help you to think on your own. We want you to be a loving Christian in the world, but not exactly like Pastor Tim or me or your parents. You are your own person. So we are here to help you grow up as an adult in the faith, but as each and every one of you as individuals, right? So those faith questions are just a way for you to be really thinking about what does all of this mean? What do I think about this? And when you ask those questions and then we have conversation about it, that's when we often grow, right? Because we're talking about things that maybe have been in the back of our mind. So worship notes. Sometimes, another thing I will say, you've got the paper form, the blue worship notes. Those are they're a one page. You also have the option of having a faith conversation as a family and doing sort of a family worship note. And in fact, you wouldn't even have to turn those in. If you do that every single time you come to confirmation, you can write down your worship note on your form and not turn them into me, but it means that you are, as a family, having conversation about worship in an intentional way. And again, sometimes kids will do this because they do not connect with that paper form. And if having a verbal conversation with your family is the better way that you would like to talk about worship, and then email us a question every now and then, that's great. So that's another option. And then we ask that you do at least 3 during Lent. There are 6 Lent Wednesdays plus the Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, at least 3 during that Lent season. Questions about worship notes? I've got candy. No? And Ethan, I didn't catch you when you came in and stuff. I did give everybody 2 to start, so do you want a treat while you sit? I just asked that you clean up your wrappers, okay, if you're eating them now. But if you ask a question, I just might toss you another thing. So service hours, again, not a magic number, 12 a year. It's we picked this one, maybe even was before I was doing confirmation stuff here, but 1 hour a month is why we picked 12. So there's no rhyme or reason. You might do 36 hours in 1 year. Great. Again, if you're doing that, more than likely you're serving on a regular basis, and it's really truly about serving more like Jesus did, right? And having that be something that we look for and live for every day, right? Because there are ways that we can serve. You're going to walk out of this building and there will be things that you can do to serve. And we're not talking massive things, right? But it's a mindset of who are your closest neighbors? Your parents. Kids, I'm asking you. They're in the bedroom, maybe on the same level, or upstairs or downstairs, whatever. They are your closest neighbor. They live in your house with you. You can serve your parents, right? And just like your parents serve you every single day. That means doing something around the house without being asked, or maybe helping with a sibling, or taking the pet out. Those things are loving acts of service that you can do every single day that, are a way that we live out our love for each other, right? And then you do that out in the greater world. Well, what we're talking about here are things like that, but also they can't be paid or you can't get credit through it. So if you're in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or a sport or something and you're doing something for that program, we want you to do them separate for church, right? We think that this is important enough that you get 12 hours a year through church. We want at least 6 of them to be here at church, but there might be things that you do, a city cleanup, that you volunteer through Delano. Great, you can put that as, that's great. But try to find 6 hours that you can do here and get involved in the life of the church here. It's things like, on Sunday mornings, we always need worship assistants, right? So we are looking for ushers and greeters and scripture readers. We have kids now helping back at the soundboard. It's communion assistants. You don't have to be a certain age to serve communion. I mean, our little 7-year-old has helped with communion. So we will give you whatever training you need, and you come to worship and usher for a worship service. You get a full hour of service time, right? So you're not working for a full hour like you would be if you were out raking somebody's lawn or something, but you're here committing for a full hour, right? So you can put down it's not like you're going to put 10 minutes down for that because you only worked for 10 minutes. You get to put that full hour of worship. We will do Feed My Starving Children, like I said. In the spring, we'll do some things. So you will get some just by coming to confirmation. But if you look on the back side, there are some other ideas, like Vacation Bible School. I put the dates on there for this July. You could help as a junior crew leader and get, I mean, gosh, you could get all 12 hours in one shot with that, right? We talked about worship. Food distribution is the second Monday of each month. Great project to do in the summer. They need some people to lift things, and they get some heavy food donations, right? So come and help with that. Special events through and/or Sunday school. So just think outside the box. You can do outside opportunities organizations, Love Inc., Food Shelf, etc. You can help a neighbor as long as you're not getting paid for it, but you're doing something to serve, then. And, you know, during COVID, I let kids do their service projects at home as a piece of what they just couldn't be paid for it, but they were doing service thing. I got pictures of kids cleaning cupboards and, you know, washing windows, and, it truly is, it's learning how to, look for ways to help other people, right? Okay, we're on number 4, fall retreat. Those dates you can put on your calendar. That is the retreat that we do out at WAPO. And barring anything unforeseen, like a couple years ago when I found out that homecoming got moved, and there was a year that we didn't actually get a retreat because the homecoming weekend got pushed back, and then it was like the next time that I tried to pick was deer hunting opener in Minnesota. So it didn't end up happening that year. But this is a super fun opportunity, and I would say, it's expected for all to attend, but at the same time, you're not going to want to miss it. Like last year we had 50 or 60 kids, and it was just a really great event. So we'll go out there for 2 nights, Friday through Sunday, and we'll play a lot of games, have some small group time. There will be a speaker and some music, campfires, all that sort of stuff, kind of a mini camp experience. And we will need adults to go on that, so if you're interested, I'd love to have you with. Okay, questions yet? Nothing? Okay. Oh, yes, Josiah, sorry, they're right outside on that table. Will you go and run and grab one? And I'll give you candy when you get back. I should have told you that sooner, buds. My apologies. During Lent, this is a new thing. If you have an older sibling that has done confirmation, you see the crosses back there we did this year. You can pick up 2 things here as well. You're welcome. So the crosses are a new thing that we did this year in 7th and 8th grade, done them. What we're going to do is have that be the incoming 7th grade project for Lent. So you will create a personal cross and write a little bit about why you created what you did. So you can start kind of thinking and planning about that, or you can wait until next March, whatever. But just so you know, that's something you will do during Lent. You could take a look at them before you leave and see some of the neat ones that the kids did this year. And then a new thing that we're doing is that mentoring is going to start instead of it's typically been just the sophomores. This last year, our 9th graders started doing it. Next year, we're moving it down to 8th grade. So 8th, 9th, and 10th grade, 10th grade is they do theirs way before that. But 8th and 9th grade will do 6 mentoring, I don't know. I'll be back in touch with you about that. But they will do mentoring during Lent. So that will be a thing that hopefully you will have a mentor that you'll recruit in 8th grade, and they will be with you all the way through until you're a sophomore, right? But someone moves, of course, you're going to find a new mentor. But the ideal situation is that you recruit someone to be your mentor, and then they would stay with you. And you're not going to, you'll do a certain number of sessions each year that you're in confirmation, and kind of come back together during Lent. We'll have more specifics on that. It's just something that we have talked about as we have done some long-range planning. And so it's kind of one of the new things that we're rolling out with confirmation. So.
And the goal is, if you have someone who's not your parent, who cares about you, cares about their faith, you can ask questions and you develop more faith-wise for that. So we're hoping that you will develop those connections with somebody else in the congregation, and that'll be really good for everybody, them too, as you guys get a new perspective. So thank you for being one of the classes. We can try that out.
Well, and you will start with the crosses, so you will then get to think about, but that touches on, if you have an older kid that is in confirmation, we have in past let people ask family members, even parents or grandparents, and we are going to start where we're asking that they are not family members, so that you really grow, because the research shows that kids who have adults other than parents or other loving, trusted adults in their lives that they feel like they can go to, such as guides that, how many Leslie was a guide with her daughter Taylor, who's a junior now, and she still gets calls from the kids in the small group that are juniors in high school that are, in a tough spot and they need someone to talk to, right? Like, that is exactly what this is meant to be. It is meant to build another trusting relationship, because there are times when you just don't want to talk to your parents, right? Like, you are not alone in that. Like, you are a normal kid, right? Like, everybody needs other adults. And so that's the whole point of mentoring. So you can start thinking about who you might want to ask, and you've got some time, but it's just really meant to be, like, it's